Okay, B'Sha'at Tova. So we're continuing where we left off, right? So we addressed the four elements of the ktav, of the writing. We have, which is called tanta, right? We have the ta'amim, right? Which is keneged olam ha'atzilut and the neshama, right? When you sing the ta'am, when you give the ta'am to the word, it brings it to life, right? Then you have the nikud. The nikud is the vowel, okay, which crystallizes and gives the meaning of the word, right? And that's keneged olam ha'bri'ah, right? Because you create the word. Then we said that the tagim, the crowns, are keneged olam hayetzira. And finally, we were going to go back to your question of last year, which was why is the connection between the tagim and the olam hayetzira. And then you have the ot, right? The letter, which is olam ha'asiya, which is like keneged the nefesh, right? The guf. So the guf is the letter, the nefesh is the tag, the ruach is the nikud, and the neshama is the ta'amim.
Yep.
Okay. So just to address, it's clear to understand why the body would be the letter, right? And olam ha'asiya, because without the letters there's nothing. It's easy to understand also why the vowels is keneged abri'ah, because this is what gives the shape and the information, the ruach, right, to the word. We understand why the ta'am is the neshama, is what brings life to the word. But what we need to understand is where does the tagim fit is with the olam hayetzira. Okay, so just so you understand the tagim, where do we know
they
that we have
to the guf? They connected to the guf. They connected to the letter. They connected to the guf.
Yes, but we have to understand a little bit more. Which, yes, it's true that the yetzira is what is taking things that were created in the world of Bri'ah and putting it together. That's the yetzira. Yesh miyesh is creating something from something that already exists. Where Bri'ah, the yesh me'ayin, creating something from nothing. That's like we say in the Bereshit, bara Elokim et hashamayim ve'et haaretz. HaKadosh Baruch Hu created with the word Bri'ah from nothing, the beginning of the creation. After that, Vayitzer Hashem, right? After that, he created from something, he developed a new version, a new element from existing creation. Yeah, the tagim are coming and sitting on something and connecting, if you will. The tagim, we said that there's three dimensions in tagim. We have letters with no tagim, with one tag, and with three tag. Yeah. To the difference of the rest, right? Of the whether, for example, letters. We had three types of letters, right? We have Od Rabatit, the big letter, the regular letter, and Od Zeira, right? So one is big, which means it goes outside of the lines, right, of the regular letter. Then you have the regular letter, and then you have the smaller letter. So you see that you have three dimensions that extend top, middle, bottom in the letters. You have the same thing with the nikud, right? You have the chirik, the cholom, and the kubutz, for example, right? Or the mumpulum, where you have top, middle, and below. You have the same thing with the te'amim, right? In the te'amim, you have the pashta, you have the zakef, you have the ravia on top, you have the merka and the tipha that is in the bottom, and then you have the makaf or you have the pasek that is in the middle, right? The only one that doesn't have top, bottom, and middle is the crown. But we have a different type of dimension, which is no crown, one crown, three crowns. Okay? And they sit all on top, which is basically the hibur, the connection between Olam HaBri'ah and Olam HaAsiyah, right? Because it belongs, it's the connection there is on top of the letter being the world of Asiyah, and what's on top of it, which is the world of Bri'ah. This is why the tag must be connected. Halacha lema'aseh. If you put a tag and the tag is not connected to the letter, it's considered like an extra letter in the Torah, and the Torah is pasul.
Gotcha.
Okay? If you don't have a tag, Bedi Eved, it's machloket aposkim, but Bedi Eved, it's okay. The Sefer Torah is not pasul. But if you have a tag and the tag is not connected, if the Quran is not connected, then it becomes pasul. Now, if you look at the structure of the tag, we have a little ball representing the Olam HaBri'ah coming down and connecting to the letter, connecting to the Olam HaAsiyah, right? The Yetzirah is that connecting point from the ball, from the little nikud, the little circle, right, of the crown into the letter. Now, there are, the Gemara in Masechet Menachot tells us, it's in Daf Kaftet, that when Moshe Rabbeinu, Rabbi Yehuda says in the name of Rav, that when Moshe Rabbeinu alal Marom, he went to get the Torah, right? He
didn't
saw
understand the crowns.
What?
He didn't understand the crowns.
He saw Kadosh Baruch Hu connecting the crowns to letters. So he told him, "What are you doing?" Moshe Rabbeinu told Hashem, "What are you doing?" He said, there is someone that's going to come and going to reveal a lot of halachot from this. Adam Echad Yesh, and who is this? That's Akiva ben Yosef, right? Rabbi Akiva. That revealed halachot from every kotz, every extra, millimeter of ink that the Torah has, he was able to reveal. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu made it a point just for Rabbi Akiva to put those tagim so that he can reveal the halachot, right? And Moshe Rabbeinu, we know the halakha. Moshe said, like, okay, why do you give me the Torah? Give somebody like him, right? So that's one Gemara. So we learned that certain letters need to have tagim, need to have crowns from that Gemara in Menachot Kaftet. There is another Gemara which is the Reva, Beshem Rava, the same there in Daf Kaftet in Menachot. Rava says that Sheva Otiyot Tzrichot Shloshat Ziyunim, which is Sha'atnez Gatz, right? There are 7 letters that need to have tagim.
Okay.
That's al pi Gemara, right? 7 Sha'atnez. So you have the Shin, the Ayin, the Tet, the Nun, the Zayin. Gets Gimel and Tzadik, Sofi. Okay?
Okay.
It's brought halacha. Okay, that we says in Siman Lamed Vav that we have to put some sofrim put other tagim on tagim on other letters. And according to the Gemara, the only letters that must have tagim is Sha'adet Gatz. Okay, very good. Now, Rabbi Chaim Vital, okay. In Igeret HaTiyul, it's also brought there, but the Rabbi Chaim Vital writes that Sha'adnez Gatz, okay, and here we will find the 3 dimensions again. Sha'adnez Gatz are the names of 3 malachim, or 3 mekatregim to the world. If you look at the otiyot Sha'atnez Gatz, you have Satan, otiyot Satan, Az, and Gatz. These are 3 names Okay, the otiyot. These are the three names of three mekatregim, of three negative angels that come and actually interfere. Okay, interfere in the kedusha and the avodah of Am Yisrael. So says Rabbi Chaim Vital, where does these malachim come and influence? Through those letters, Shadnes Gats, right? So when you see a shin, when you see those letters Shadnes or Gats, okay, through those letters is a window for the Mikatregim to come and influence a situation, a word, anything that has to do with those letters.
Right.
What did HaKadosh Baruch Hu do to protect us? He put those crowns. Those crowns are the protection from those Mikatregim, so that they cannot influence through those letters Bnei Adam, Torah, Chokhmah, etc. Okay?
Beautiful. Yeah.
Okay. Now, and these are the Shadnes Gats, are those 7 letters. Can you get the 7 days of the week, right? The B'china of 7, the concept of 7, which is the world of limitations, right? We know also that Olam HaBri'ah, we learned it, in the beginning of our shiurim, that the Olam HaBri'ah is the world of Neshamot, and Olam HaYetzirah is the world of Malachim. So the Malachim can only start interfering in Olam HaYetzirah. This is why the Tagim are here and representing the Olam HaYetzirah. So if you will, the Tagim are a protection from the creation of Olam HaYetzirah, and its negative influence it could have through the Mekatregim, through the not good Malachim, onto Olam HaAsiyah, onto Olam HaBri'ah. For that specific reason, we create a little dot on top of the tag. We create this little dot, which is basically pointing towards and referring to the Olam HaNeshamot, the world of the Olam HaBri'ah, and the Olamot above it, and bringing down its Shefa all the way to the letter.
I love that.
Good?
Beautiful.
So that answers your question in our last shiur about the connection between Olam HaYetzirah and the Tagim. Okay. Now, in terms of Olam, now we're just moving forward. Okay. Since we're in the dimensions of otiyot and ktav, etc. By the way, there's another dimension that we're not talking about. You remember that originally we have 5 worlds, right? We have Adam Kadmon that we don't speak about, right? We only speak about the 4 olamot that we can relate to, but there's one olam above it, which is Adam Kadmon, with the beginning of all Bri'ah that we don't discuss. We know it's there, we don't. And that's Keneged the white, the cloth, the page, right? The parchment where there's no writings on it. And this is what surrounds all the creation. Good?
Beautiful.
It has to be pure, it's white, there's nothing on it, right? we don't write anything on the white, no nose, no nothing. Keneged, and that represents the Adam Kadmon, the world that is above the Olam HaAtzilut, that that has nothing in it that we can relate to, essentially. Now, when we look at the Nikudim, right? There's 9 ways we have 9 Nikudim, right? In the vowels, we have 9. We have the Kamatz, Patach, we have the Tzere, the Segol, the Shva, Holom, Hilik, Shuruk, and Mopolum. 9, right? Each one will represent a Sphira against the 9 Sphirot, okay? And so each Yud Ke Vav Ke, depending on which Nikud, which vowel you will put, will refer to a Sphira. Okay, Kamatz, for example, Kamatz, the Keter. Patach, the Chokhmah. You understand? Okay.
Right.
So we have 9. And then you have Yud Ke Vav Ke without anything, without any Nikud, which is Malchut.
But when do we not have a Nikud?
You can have Yud Ke Vav Ke with nothing.
No, but I'm saying which word does it not have a Nikud? Or which letter does it not have a Nikud?
It's not a question of word or not word. Again, it's the levush, when you want to refer to a sphira,
I understand
through the Yud Ke Vav Ke, depending on the Nikud that you put, it will connect to a sphira.
So the highest level of the highest level is the one without the Nikudim.
No,
that would be
the highest level is the Keter.
Straight.
Is the Keter, and the Keter is the Kamatz. Okay. The lowest one is the one without the Nikud, which is the Malchut. Why is that? Because we spoke about it a few times. Malchut letlah midileh. The Malchut does not have an essence of its own. It's a vessel that receives the Shefa from above, right? So it's like Play-Doh. It can receive everything, but doesn't have a shape of its own. It's only a vessel receiving the O from above.
I love that.
So depending on the Olam that you want to connect to, okay? So now we can understand a heritage that is very clear and can resonate much more by the Sephardim, for example, than the Ashkenazim.
No, I understand. By the Moroccans, they changed the word.
The Te'amim are extremely important.
No, not only the Te'amim. Sometimes they even change a Nikud.
Nikud,
no. The Moroccans, they read different than the Sephardim. They change the Nikud.
No, what we have, for example, we're careful with for example, the Rimel and the Gimel, the Vav and the Waw, okay, with the Dagesh, okay.
That's Ashkenaz. I'm talking about Moroccans.
Moroccans, no, we have the same thing, but we're a little more careful with the Patach versus the Kamatz, okay.
So it's different. It's very nice.
But the point I'm trying to make is that when we do the tefillah, do the tefillah,
this is the tikkun.
Right? Tikkun sofrim, yeah. When we do
so
the
tefillah, at the bottom, a lot of them are different. I'll show you, for example, one. Here, for example, Pasuk Tet, it says, "Veiten li et me'arat ha'machpelah asher lo asher b'tzei sarat b'chesed maleh yitenena li betochechem la'achuzat kabel." We say betochechem, but this is a Persian or whatever Moroccan. They say betochachem.
Yeah.
They say betochachem. We say betochechem. So meaning we have a different meaning of the word of Hashem, I guess, whoever put it together.
Yeah, no, but that's the difference. The difference in this is not really in the meaning, but in the
you change it, then the code.
Yes.
So if
yes.
you change in the Nikud, you change in the
meaning. Yes, but it's not because we want to change the meaning. It's because of the
no, but you change in one of the Sefirot. It's a different Sefirah. What they say and what we say is a different Sefirah.
Yes, in that case, yes, you're right. You're right.
That's
yes.
what I'm saying. Yeah,
yes. But what's also very clear and very very beautiful is, for example, if you pay attention and if people really knew why you have Zekenim more than today, but the Zekenim at the time, when they sing or when they learn the Torah, when they read the Torah, yeah, there is the word that they say, okay? So they focus on the Tzurat HaOtiyot, on the actual structure of the letters, its meaning, and the impact it has through the singing, wow. Through the ta'amim. Wow. You're a Baal Koreh. Imagine that now.
I'll get fired. I will get fired.
but that shows us, why some tefillah could take long, because if you start having those kavanot, for example, if you pray with the Mekubalim in Yerushalayim, right? 2 hours. It takes hours, the tefillot. Why? Because the second they bring into the dimension of tefillah, the nikud, etc., you tap into different olamot, and you tap and you tap and you tap and you tap.
I love that.
So, what's all this coming to show us? That lema'aseh, we only limited if we identify ourselves only through the body and through our mouth and through what we think defines us. Comes the Torah and comes and teaches us that the moment you're able to stop only focusing on the letter, on the goof, but instead you open yourself to the dimension of the nefesh, of the ruach, you take into consideration the spiritual influx of the will of HaKadosh Baruch Hu in your own physical existence. If you align this with your emotions, if you control your emotions, if you allow the intellect to align itself and impact all these vessels, right? Through the exercise of the dimensions of the otiyot in the Torah, you will start seeing olamot acherot legamri. Suddenly, the actual letter is no longer limiting you. Your body is no longer limiting you. Now you are exposed to the klaf. Now you are exposed to the light of the Or Ein Sof, to the Adam HaKadmon, to the Ashpa'ot HaOlamot. And now you become you become limitless. This is what the Torah, the Kabbalah is coming to teach us. This is the purpose of what we've been learning, to open ourselves to the big world, right? The spiritual world, what's out there, and be open to it, to embrace its light, and to shower also and impact those olamot. Because once you understand that you're not just a goof, you're not just a letter, but you are part of a word, you are part of a sentence, you are part of a perek, you are of a chapter, you are part of a parasha, you are part of a klaf, you are part of the whole Torah. You cannot be disconnected from your tag. You cannot be disconnected from your connection to the olamot. I do not. And if you are pasul, ma kavana pasul? Your body becomes pasul. That's when tum'ah comes in. That's when impurity comes in. That's when Isur comes in. This is why it is so important and so hamur, according to Halacha, that if you have a tag, and we all have it, you must be connected. You cannot have a tag and disconnect it. You cannot be disconnected from your pipe of neshama, from your olamot.
I love that. There's a book. Rabbi Sachs came with a book. It's his number one selling book. It's called A Letter in the Scroll. That's exactly what you just said. Is exactly the book. It's the number one seller book of Rabbi Jonathan Sachs. He says, we're all Jews. We are a letter in the scroll. We're one part of a very big story. You are that letter that connects the past with the future, the present with the rest of the people, etc.
That's right.
Exactly what you just said.
That's right.
Beautiful.
That's right. That the Sfarim HaKadoshim tells that our DNA is, we all have the Shishim Ribo Otiyot. We all have the whole Sefer Torah. We are all the whole Sefer Torah. But depending on our actions, our behavior, the letters start keeping changing, and we write a story, and the story changes all the time, right?
Love that.
And the more we do good deeds, and the more we empower, we bring light onto letters. And if not, Khalila, we disconnect the letters. Sometimes we disconnect the ta'am. Sometimes we disconnect the nikud. Sometimes we change the nikud. You change the nikud from oveh le'avar, or from avar le'atid, and then everything starts changing. Once you control all this, there's no past, there's no future, there's no present, there's you. Because you can change it, you can go backwards and change it as the future. You can impact the future by connecting to the bracha of the past, which is the Sod HaTeshuvah, which is the Sod of the Neshama. And this is everything we have learned in the fundamentals of Emuna coming to teach us. To start this base and impact and live through this in our day-to-day life.
Amazing. Wow. It's incredible. I'm blown away.
That gives us the ashlama, right? The completion a little bit of at least of the direction that we need to take with everything that we have learned.
I love it. I love it.
Baruch Hashem.
Amazing, Rabbi. Okay, we're on for Sunday?
Be'ezrat Hashem. Hold on 1 second. Hold on, Tzaddik. Yes, Baruch Hashem. So that with this we conclude fundamentals of Emuna, Baruch Hashem.
That was the last piece.